So we want to welcome everybody to Unleash Your Free Spirit. And Guinea and I just started this many years ago, actually, to really help people discover their free spirit or maybe just let it out again because back during COVID, there just didn't seem a chance to be able to do that. So we created this platform to help people be able to dream again and to go and do things that they did not think were possible and to overcome some of the challenges that we all have. So today we actually have an amazing guest, and I want to introduce you to Maya Mcnulty. And Maya is an absolutely phenomenal person. You know, her regular business is that of marketing and branding. And she's extremely knowledgeable about that. What really first touched my heart about her is her love for not for profits. And those not for profits, she really helps them with fundraising and being able to make connections where sometimes people don't think that they have connections. Maya is really great at helping people find those connections. And then as we spoke, I heard the story about Maya in COVID, and I'm not going to share that because I'm hoping that she's going to share that today. But she actually has a company called COVID Wellness LLC, and just that story touches my heart. And that's one of the things about Maya is that she touches so many people's hearts. She is so open and friendly and positive. And for some people that experienced what Maya experienced, they would not have been that way. But Maya is. And that's one of the reasons we wanted to share with you today with Maya Mcnulty. So, Maya, go ahead and take it away.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much, Judy and Jenny, for having me. This is a true honor. And I am now stepping back into the workforce after 4 years of healing and recovery. And to fast track you, because that's not what today's about. Today is about not being a victim, it's about being victorious. And I want to walk you through some steps of how, and of course, my results aren't typical, but how I overcame such adversity and made it for good. I feel that every time we go through something, it's for a reason of some sort, right? Whether it's good or bad, but there's a reason that it happened. And so I'll take you back to March of 2020. It was just about springtime, March 21st, and I had tested positive for COVID. And it was a time where it was just elderly that were being like the person that was dying or needed medical attention could get the vaccine, quarantine. Like there was so much research on that, but yet no research. But then I ended up getting COVID at the gym in the sauna. It was just a Peachtree dish, and I walked right into it. It affected my teeth, my skin, my ears, every being in my body. But most importantly, it affected my lungs. And when I went to the hospital on March 14th, I asked, do you have a COVID test that I can take? And it was as if I was asking for something that was very foreign, um, gold. And I was able to get it, but it lit up like a Christmas tree. But they couldn't say anything after I took it because the Department of Health and the mayor and the governor had to know first. And so my case, because I was the first young female in upstate New York, made the White House, the Operation Warp Speed. It made national press. And then we realized, or they realized, because I was in a coma. I was in a coma for 30 days. I was hospitalized for 69 days. 6 weeks of that I spent on a ventilator. I had to learn to eat, walk, talk, just about everything like a baby all over again. And so this is my 4-year coma anniversary because March 21st just passed. and I'm doing some incredible things. They're my plans from 2019. So I just kind of erased these 4 years, but I took away some really valid points from it, and it's what I want to share today. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, give me a thumbs up if it's okay.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
again, I said that how my results aren't typical. And the healing process is different for everyone, right? We're all cut, shaped differently, different ecosystems that we live in. Some of us live in warmer climates, some of us live in colder climates. Some of us are younger, some of us are colored like I am. I'm Indian, I'm Guyanese Indian from South America. My husband is white Italian, very good cook, by the way. And so, but these are some of the things that I learned about healing. And I had to realize that it wasn't my fault, because at the time I had died, I went to heaven. And so I didn't even know that there was a thing called NDE experience, but I've experienced that, and I've been in heaven, and I've waited in purgatory, and I can tell you a whole story on that, but we won't do that today. But here's what I learned that how I could become a better storyteller to tell, and this could apply into your business as well. I learned how to be a better storyteller, where it wasn't about me, it was about what I could do to help others from my lived experience. And for that, I ended up becoming a national speaker for NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Health, as one of the board of directors for New York State. And so, because I became a better storyteller of overcoming mental illness, PTSD, and all those other things that we get placed in a box for because of mental health, because it is a chronic illness, but it just hasn't been diagnosed as that. So I've learned how to be a better storyteller for myself and for others. The next thing I learned was Judy mentioned COVID Wellness Clinic. At the time in March of 2020, there was not any support system. And so I created a community. I built my own community. And if you're in business and you're looking for people like you would find them in an enclave, like a congregation, right? In a church, you'd find a congregation. So you could build your own congregation. And that's what I did with COVID Wellness Clinic, is I built a community of long haulers like myself. And in doing so, I felt the support, and then I felt that I wasn't alone. Believe me, when I was being Hoyer lifted out of bed for my therapy sessions, and when I couldn't walk, I did not want to live. It was terrible. And I was alone in the hospital because 69 days, that was the time of the global shutdown. And I couldn't see my husband or my family. And then when I was able to, on a device like an iPad, I couldn't hold it because I had gotten a stroke while I was in the coma, which they didn't focus on that. But I didn't have the strength. I couldn't hold anything. I couldn't hold a pencil. I was being tube fed. I was 55 days tube fed. And I had a lot of anger. So I think that number three, well, one was storyteller, build a community, releasing anger. I was really mad. I was mad that this happened to me, and I just did not want to face it anymore. I wanted to be who Maya was in 2019. And so I had to learn how to manage grief. And in my community, I had to let them know that they weren't alone, and that I too was having these types of symptoms or financial problems, because my medical insurance didn't lapse, but it was very close. I at literally March 17th, I renewed my health insurance, and I'm sorry, March 15th, and March 17th was like the next cutoff, because it's every 15 for the year. And so I literally did it the night before. And I feel that, boy, am I lucky I did that, because it cost $6 million to keep me alive. Just 34 days in ICU, and then another 34 in rehab. So I have learned through my story, not only to become a better storyteller, but also to be able to inspire others, to let them know too that they're not from a victim mentality, that they are victorious, and that they're only one victory away. Some of the things that I've learned during recovery is how to just sit back and listen. listen to what's around you. When you start listening to what's around you, you become more cognitive. You actually find strength that you really didn't know you had. I never knew that I was really that strong. I remember as a kid, people telling me that I was a fighter, and that meant like I was fighting them, right? I was a claw and just terrible. But now I know that that word meant for my survival, and that I can take this word being a fighter as a positive, whereas most people would think it's a negative. And so if you've been called names before, it's probably going to align to something that is going to bring you through some of the darkest times in your life. And I believe that because I was fighter and a warrior through this whole thing, and just a positive mindset, like Judy had said, and Ginny, that I feel like that's why I'm here. And I just keep stepping up and adding more and doing more, because I feel like if I rest on it, I don't have the time left, because we're all here for some specific reason. And I feel that if I don't take the time to sit back and listen to what is being asked of me, I might miss it. And I don't want to miss it, because I know that whatever I have to do is important. Anybody got any questions right now?
Oh my goodness, Maya, your smile, I've been just focusing on it. Thank you. Anybody? Yes, you can raise your hand, unmute yourself. Um, I know I just kept thinking, oh my God, this woman, this is your experience. With your experience, what you're talking is not bookish knowledge. It's not that, yes, I heard this, that. It's you are talking about from your own life journey. And that's what makes your presence so special. And thank you for continuing to, you know, be positive and continue to say that I am going to fight it out. I am going to be a voice for others, and I will let others know that you're not alone and how to be in the grief. Dr. Joy has her hand up. Dr. Joy, please unmute yourself. And another phenomenal person, Maya, you need to connect. Our community, we are lucky. We are very fortunate. Yes, Dr. Joy.
So thank you, Judy. Maya, wow. First of all, thank you for coming back, because you could have chosen to stay. Yeah.
I don't know. I got kicked out.
Yeah, me too. So
I got kicked out of heaven. They didn't want me yet.
yeah, so here, just your story alone is so inspirational, and it's we can survive. We're stronger than we think, and that's what I felt from your message. You really are stronger than we think. Just have to find it, and you did. So once want to acknowledge you for just being here and for fighting it out for 69 days. And
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I want to share, if I may, some of the steps that I took for recovery. And this can also be applied to your business if you've ever wanted to switch over what you were doing in business, because that actually is what led me to develop COVID wellness, is because of this lived experience. It wasn't something that I'm passionate about, of talking about COVID, right? Or long COVID. It's just something that I know that other people, like children that have been orphaned in America, there's over 375,000 children that have been orphaned. They've lost one caregiver, both caregivers, or a grandparent. So they've lost so much, and it's not their fault. And when they're 2 and 3 years old, they don't understand why mommy and daddy is not there for their first birthday or second or third or even their 10th, right? They're double digits. And as a mom, that breaks my heart. And so that's one of the legislations that I'm working on in Congress, and 2 here in New York State. We have almost 18,000 children in New York State that have been orphaned by COVID. And so the bills that I'm proposing are, I have one in the Senate and one in the Assembly, and they're to help. And I'm not alone. I have a group of us that are doing this together. And it's to help kids to be able to start a life. So buy a new car, go to college, open a business, the things that we dreamt about as kids that we could do someday, but they just don't have the role model. And through this recovery of mine, one of the things that I did, I have 5 steps that I did here, is I got plenty of rest. I tried to avoid fatigue as much as I could. As when I couldn't eat, walk, talk, pooping in a diaper. I lost all my hair. I lost all my voice for 10 months. I couldn't drive for 17, couldn't drive for 17 months. 10 months of injections in my neck from the kenolog shots. So what I did the next one is, so when I got plenty of rest to avoid fatigue, then I got my support group, COVID Wellness Clinic, which I became more active in. And if you're going to start a group for your business, be active in it. Respond to their comments. When you do that, you have engagement and you'll tickle the algorithm, because as you know, I have a marketing degree, and it will tickle the algorithm for it to boost up. So you have to have comments, likes, and shares. And so ask people for that. So ask for what you want. The other most important thing that you can do is document your story, document your journey, so that you have something to reflect on. And that way, you know, the progress that you've made, because somebody else can look at you and say, oh my God, you're doing this really great. But then you're looking at yourself thinking, well, I haven't driven in 17 months, or I just lost all my hair and none of it's growing back. But thankfully that has all changed now. I've learned that how with fatigue and resting, to not overdo it. My physical therapist would tell me, I had an in-home nurse and an in-home occupational and physical therapist. And I'm in my home office, is where I work. And my living room is on the other side. And for 9 months, I was in a hospital bed. And I would try to walk up the steps and I couldn't do it. And then the one day I decided that I was going to do, and that's the other thing, you have to decide that you're going to do it. And she goes, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I took such value away from that. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? So that is something that when you're thinking it over, you can do it, but you really shouldn't be pushing that button. Just remember, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And the last thing I'll leave you with is that how when you communicate, to lean on your people, lean on your circle. When you do that, you realize that you're not alone, that you can share your lived stories. I know with the mental health being part of the National Alliance on Mental Illness, I have raised that platform to speak about things that I didn't even know I was uncovering, but it made me a better person and it made me stronger. So don't ever be ashamed or feel that your story doesn't matter, because it certainly does. And I want to leave you today with remembering that you are only one victory away. Thank you.